everyone. We have liftoff.
All right. I'm so excited. Hi, Mark.
Hello to you, Gerhard. Hey, I just got the July edition of Selling Power. Haven't had a chance to open it up, but I got the link, so I'll be taking a look at it this evening. So, thank you much. Thank you much. So,
our friend Anthony posted a video. So, if you go to his YouTube channel, you can see a video that we did on Saturday in DC, and we went to the Jefferson Memorial, to the Lincoln Memorial, to the Vietnam Memorial, and he was riffing about history, and we talked about his sales closing book.
Hey, I love it. Yeah, I caught just a little bit. I happened to be on YouTube right when he was just connecting with you, and I saw just a little bit of it, but I couldn't stay. And so that's cool. I will go out and check out that. So anyway, hey, what I've got to go at the top of the hour, but what's the book? What's the sales book? What's the book on your mind? Because I got three of them here.
Wow.
I want to talk, but I know we're only going to do one. I know. So
I have one book.
Ooh.
It is called The Unbeatable Mind, and it is with the Commander Mark Devine. He's a retired Navy SEAL, and if you go to YouTube, you're in for a treat because he has a YouTube channel, and he talks to you about how to make that mind of yours unbeatable, so you can handle adversity, so you can develop the grit you need. And what I like particularly about this book, he talks about 5 mountains that we need to conquer. Mountain 1 is physical. So he demonstrates that you need the physical strength in order to achieve your mission. And selling is all the transfer of energy, and you want to have the energy that you need in order to create that, what I would call the executive presence that you need to diagnose the customer's situation and come up with the right prescription. Physical mountain is number 1. Number 2 is the mental mountain. We all experience like 60,000 thoughts a day, and 80% of them are negative. So we have right here the prefrontal cortex. It's called the executive function of the brain, and I call it the inner CEO. And you need to talk through your inner CEO and create a mind that is unbeatable, where you have very little self-talk, very little distraction, where you don't focus on the past, where you don't worry about the future, you focus on the task at hand. So the third mountain is the emotional mountain. We all experience negative emotions during the day, and when you're on a mission, you don't need that. You don't need counterproductive emotions. So you need to be able to create a state of mind where you are in the flow, when nothing is going to bother you, where you're mission focused. And the fourth mountain is the intuitive mountain.
What was number 3? Because I was writing down the title of the book. It's Undeniable Mind, right? That's the title of the book?
Okay. Unbeatable.
Unbeatable Mind. Unbeatable Mind. Okay. Mind. Clearly, I don't have a mind that can remember the name of it.
Well, I have a slow down mind for you. I'm going to repeat it slowly. The first is the...
I think that was a Taxi episode.
That's right.
Remember that show in the 70s, Taxi? That was a great... What does a yellow light mean? Slow.
You have the physical mind, you have the mental, you have emotional, then you have the intuitive, and there's a fifth, and I get to that. The intuitive is simply listen to your gut and pay attention to what your gut is telling you. And sometimes the gut instinct can override everything else. And the last one, somebody's saying, you're dating yourself.
Hey, look, I got the gray hair, okay? I am dating myself. Hey, in fact, you know what's funny? I was at a 4th of July party yesterday.
Right.
And we had our phones out going through pulling up old the best old scenes from TV shows from the 70s and the 80s. So, okay. So I'm sorry.
We went down memory lane. We actually watched All the President's Men, and that's a movie from 1972.
Yeah, that's a great movie. Yeah, it's cool.
Dustin Hoffman, Robert Redford.
Yeah.
So the fifth mind is the most interesting to me because it's all about, it's a Japanese term. It's called the Kuroko mind, or the Kuroko mountain. And this is when the heart and the mind fuse together towards action.
The two fuse together?
The two work together. The heart and mind need to work together in unison.
Okay.
To act in concert with one another. So in other words, if you have a mission and you say, I want to double my sales this month, but your heart is not in it, you're not going to achieve it. So the mind and heart need to be together so you can take the right action. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that's cool. Hey, so this guy was a Navy SEAL?
Yes, he was a Navy SEAL, and I love his YouTube videos. You go on YouTube.
I got to check him out. Okay.
In Mark Divine is almost like a god or divining, future fortune telling. So Mark Divine, like your first name, Mark Hunter. So you're very close. The Hunter and the Divine are very close to me.
I love that. That's cool. That's neat. Okay, I'm going to buy that book. Okay, here's the book. I think I've mentioned this to you before, haven't I?
Yeah.
Yeah, I tell you what. In fact, it's funny. Yeah, I was with some people the other day, and I said, you got to buy this book. And what was interesting was this person I was talking to was strictly a salesperson. I said, she said, isn't it for business owners? I said, no, it's not. I mean, I'll tell you what, I go through this book almost every summer. I take a week or so and just kind of dig into this book and keep pulling out nuggets. I mean, this guy is brilliant, Vern Harnish. But I'll tell you what, the pieces that I like, he's got some worksheets in here. And maybe it's connect by dots. No, it's not. But it's just, he challenges you as a business owner, as a business leader, as a sales leader, to really look at, and the two words, and I used them before I found the book, but they take on a lot more meaning now. And that's, is what you're doing sustainable, and is what you're doing scalable? And what I like about the book is he really shows you how to really create a scalable business. His business is Gazelle Consulting. And if you think about what a gazelle animal represents, in the wild, it truly is something that has just got incredible speed. And he says, too many times we tend to go slow. You can speed up by using the input and the mind of other people.
So what are those four phases of scaling that illustrated in the...
Well, it's people is the first one. Second one is strategy. Third one is execution. And the fourth one is cash. And what is interesting is any small business owner knows these. Any business owner knows these. But it's funny how we tend to forget about the people. We focus on the strategy, or we focus on the execution, and we don't focus on what's on either end, the people and the cash. And if you're in sales, you stop and think about this from a sales perspective. If you can't connect with the people, if you can't leverage both your resources inside your company and outside your company, the customer, there's no way you're going to be successful. The strategy, the execution, the cash. I mean, I've got this book so marked up, highlighted, and so forth. But I find the first third of the book to be the most important part.
Why is that book important to you?
Because you know what, we all are guilty of falling into ruts. This is the way we do things. This is the way. And this book has a way of just taking the blinders off of you. He's got, in fact, one page I've marked in here. page 87. Let me just turn to it here real quick. He's got a number of worksheets in here. And he poses questions that you have to ask yourself. You know, the seven traits of developing your strategy. And it's a worksheet that you just kind of work through. And one of the interesting pieces he says is, what are the differentiating activities that you bring to your company? And then he says, what's the X factor? How do you 10X it? Okay, we've heard 10X, but how do you 100X it? And, you know, you really stop and think about that. You know, you think of what anybody in the VC industry, you invest, and you only really think that 1 out of 7, 1 out of 8 of your investments is ever going to pay off. But when it does, it's going to pay off huge. That's what he's saying. If you put enough of these things out there, one of them will be incredibly safe. I don't know. I thoroughly enjoy the book. I've gotten to know Vern a little bit, and I kid him that I said, I think I'm selling as many of these books as you are.
Well, I like the idea of 20X. You know, Grant Cardone talks about 10X.
10X, right, yeah.
And this guy, Mark Devine, talks about 20X that you can get from your mind, because we utilize only about 7% of our mental capacity. So what if you can double that or triple that or 10X it or 20X it? So I go back to Napoleon Hill. What the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. So all this scaling has to do with the mental models that we are creating in our mind. So if we can imagine it, then we can find a way.
Well, it certainly proves that the biggest obstacle we face is right there. I mean, it just.
So what are the 2 other books that you got?
Well, the other books, and believe me, I could go through. I mean, this is a good book.
Yeah.
Have you read, I mean, you know, it's funny. We never think about sharing stories with customers.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, Paul's done a great job of really walking you through the different types of stories that you can tell on a sales call, in a conversation. And it's the title of the book almost doesn't do it justice, because this really does change the way you present. So that's that book. And then of course,
wait, hold on.
Whoa, okay. Let's wrap it back up here.
Hold on. Tell me a story that you have used recently to make a sale.
Oh man, you're putting me on the spot.
Yes, I am.
Yeah, you are. And nothing comes into mind right now.
That's right. So go to page 90 in the book. Random.
What page did you say? 90?
90.
90. Okay. I open it up. Okay.
Read the first paragraph.
Oh, I got to put glasses on. Man, you're killing me. In these cases, effective salespeople find an internal sponsor to champion their cause within the organization. Then they arm that sponsor with all the information needed to make the sale on their behalf. The more creative salespeople, however, also include a story, knowing it's more likely to be remembered and repeated in the meeting than any of the facts or arguments that make up the main sales pitch. They also know it's the most reliable way to inspire the sponsor with a sense of passion for the cause similar to their own.
I think it's a brilliant insight.
That's brilliant. Because
if you tell the right story, then that story will be retold.
Right, because it's memorable. You remember it. Yeah. So
it's and also I think it's not just selling with stories, but also selling with metaphors. You know, for example, somebody has a price objection, and you come up with something, a mental package like, you know, Mark, the sweetness of low price is quickly forgotten when you have to deal day after day with the bitterness of low quality. So I just gave you that. You agreed to this, and you're probably going to repeat it because it's easy, because it's simple. And that's another thing. This guy talks about simplicity. And he says when he was in corporate life, it was pretty complicated. But when he became a Navy SEAL and became a warrior, he says, when I was in corporate world, navigating the political and social scene, life seemed complicated. And a cacophony of discordant and emotionally charged egos and ambitions colliding with one another. I note that many people gravitate towards the complex because it makes them feel important and distracts them from more genuine pursuits and responsibilities. So when I jettisoned that world and landed in the SEAL teams, life suddenly got very simple. The mission was clear: hunt and kill the bad guys and protect the life we had back home. So simplicity is very important. That's why salespeople need to create simple stories that are memorable, that other people can repeat.
Which just proves that we do have a tendency to overcomplicate things.
Right.
I mean, in everything. If we keep it absolutely simple, it's amazing how much more effective we can be. Hey, I got to run here in about 2 or 3 minutes. Sales.
The third book.
Well, we would have to spend an hour on this one.
Jet Blount, my favorite.
Yeah. I think this is fanatical prospecting has sold incredibly well.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, I think Sales EQ, and I mentioned it to him. I said, I think this is his best book.
Yeah. Because
of the way it breaks down. It breaks down the mental mind blocks that we all have with.
And I asked him about this book, and he said that book almost killed me. And I said, why? Because he says it's almost a never-ending chase for the details. Because there are so many nuances about emotions. There are thousands, 1,600 different emotions that people can experience. And it's not just about the emotion, it's the corresponding thoughts, it's the corresponding behavior, the underlying belief system. And then he had to look at so much research that are out there. You just look at positive psychology. There are hundreds of books on that subject. So it's almost like shallow wrestling. It never ends.
Yeah. I mean, I remember he couldn't get it's like, just keep going. It's funny because I was kidding him. I said, so maybe what you're doing is you're not writing one book, but you're writing 3 books.
Right.
And he said, don't even go there. I just want to get this one out the door. But yeah, it is. I think it's his best book. Yeah. And, but what I find interesting is, and I can be guilty of it. I can sit there and read a book, but then do I actually apply it? And do I apply enough of it?
Right.
And
that's why it's always important to write in books. I make notes in the margins, and then when I get back to a book, then I see what I underlined.
Yeah.
Or you can make an action sheet.
But you know what? I think just going through that, making the highlight, making the notes, whatever, it's triggering your brain to embed that thought at a deeper level. Plus, it gives you a good reference tool.
Right.
It is, because a good book is never read once.
I want to remind everybody, subscribe below to Mark's podcast because he's a YouTube channel. And whatever we are recording here, it's going to go on his YouTube channel. Subscribe.
Yeah.
And also follow us on Twitter. My Twitter handle is Gerhard20, GERHARD20. I also have a YouTube channel. And,
you put out a lot of great stuff. I mean, you're putting out so many great videos. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So anyway, hey, I've got a conference call coming up in 2 minutes. I got to dash to, but hey, Sales 3.0. What's a real quick 20-second push for it?
This is going to be our best and biggest conference ever. It's in Las Vegas on September 18th and 19th. Be there. You're going to walk away with 30 pages of notes that are going to help you create a much better sales organization.
And I'm coming this time. I'm coming. I'm there.
Yeah,
I got to get my reservation. I got to get my hotel reservation made ASAP. Right. Yeah.
Cool.
Good. I'm looking forward to it. Hey, I've got to run. I got a call. It starts in about 45 seconds.
Awesome.
Take care.
Good selling. Take care. Bye-bye.